y'all. Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. Listen, we were having a little bit of technical difficulties, but guess what? We are all nurses and we are determined, okay? That just shows our determination and tenacity. We did what we needed to do to make this happen. We apologize for the 30-minute delay, but we are here to celebrate Nurses Day and to kick off Nurses Week. I am the host, Elena Watkins, and I have 4 wonderful nurses that are going to join me this evening to help us celebrate Nurses Day. So let's just get this thing started. First off, I want to introduce you all to Miss Vicky Bugs. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself and open us up for the evening. Hey, Miss Vicky.
Hey, everyone in social media land. My name is Vicky Bugs, and I have been a nurse for 10 years. I'm a 20-year combat veteran, and what inspired me to become a nurse is the need and compassion that I have for people. Currently, my business is Center for Health Educators and Safety Specialists, where I train and certify healthcare professionals, along with laypersons and other agencies on life-saving techniques. Currently, I'm a 2-time self-author as an e-instructor. So at the end of this program, I hope that I will be able to network with a few of you. Thank you, Delania, for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was a great intro. Hey, and what did you say your military service?
20 years.
20 years. Look at you. Oh my goodness. See, we got nothing but greatness here this evening. All right. Next up, we got Miss Cherie M. Good. Hey, Cherie. Welcome to the Nurses Day, y'all.
Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Cherie M. Good, the Recharge Strategist and Self-Care Master. I have been a licensed practical nurse for the past 30 years. I'm currently certified as a hospice and palliative nurse, and I currently practice in hospice care. I am the founder CEO of Total Harmony Enterprises, Make Me Over Wellness, and Exceptional Wellness Candle Company. I am super excited to be here this evening. What drove me to nursing? I always wanted to be a nurse. I used to dress up as a little girl because what I saw was my mom and my aunts and my grandma in these white uniforms. It attracted me. And so as soon as I was able to become a nurse at the age of 17, I jumped at the opportunity. So I love nursing. I love everything, all the possibilities around nursing. And I look forward to sharing with your audience this evening.
Yay, look at that. We got hospice nurses. She got businesses going on. So that's that CEO entrepreneur mindset. I love it. All right, next up we have Miss Nita Scott. Hey, Nita. Can she hear me, Waunita? We cannot hear you. Come on, Nita. We swore off all technical issues tonight after 30 minutes of it. No more technical issues. All right, we're going to move over to Shaniqua. Hey, Shaniqua. Because Shaniqua. Hey, there you go. Hey, Shaniqua.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so very much for having me. I am Shaniqua Johnson, RN. I am a health coach, life coach. I am the CEO of Stronger Through Faith Publishing, motivational speaker, author. You name it. I'm just out here making us nurses proud and doing my thing. So I am excited to be here to share with all of the listeners, to be here with my fellow nurses. This is amazing.
Yes, thank you. Yay. Look at I love all that excitement. You know, that's how we do. Bring the energy.
You
all
know?
Right. But Nita, can you hear us, Nita? I pushed her back on. All right, you can, yay! Okay, all right, Nita. So we're just doing our welcome and intros. So tell everybody out there who you are, and
I can hear you. It's a little
chop. All right, because we can hear you pretty good. So just tell us who you are and how long you've been a nurse and your business.
Oh, hello, everyone. I am Waunita Scott. I have been a nurse for almost 4 years now. I'm a former public school educator.
Mm-mm. All right, Waunita. Unfortunately, you're having technical issues. We heard that you have been a nurse for 4 years, and then after that, I couldn't really hear the rest of what you were saying. So try and log out and log back in, because we got to get the greatness, we got to get the goodness, because I know what your business is, but I want our listeners to know what your business is as well, because it's good stuff. So we'll give her a couple minutes to log back in so that she can share that part of what she does with each of us. All right, so you've heard me talk about it for the last 4 or 5 days, drummed it up, kind of blowing up your timelines, telling you all that today was Nurses Day. And I asked you to shout out some nurses for Nurses Day, right? Let me tell you, when I used to work in the facilities, we loved when Nurses Week came around. We loved when it was Nurses Day, didn't we, guys?
Yes.
We knew we were getting all kinds of goodies, whether it was going to be lunch. If you worked the evening shift, it was going to be dinner. We were going to get all kinds of goodies dropped off for an entire week, okay?
That's right.
We were special for that whole week, and I absolutely loved it. You know, not that we're not appreciated throughout the year, but we knew Nurses Week, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. We knew that we were going to be shown some appreciation for Nurses Week. So I'm just going to tell you what Nurses Day is and how it was derived. And it is observed annually on this day, May 6th, to raise awareness of all nurse contributions and commitments and acknowledge the vital role that nurses play in society. This day is also the first day of National Nurses Week, as I said, and sometimes it's known as National RN Recognition Day. The other significance of this National Nurses Week is May 6th is a kickoff, but it ends on May 12th because that is Florence Nightingale's birthday.
That's right.
We all know who she is. We're going to talk about her a little bit later in that little nurse trivia quiz. But so that's the significance. Florence Nightingale was born on May 12, 1820, and she died on August 13th, 1910, a day after my birthday. So that is the significance of Nurses Day. So if you're watching this, we appreciate you watching. Show us some love, show us some support. Even if you have a family member who's, you know, a nurse, a friend, somebody in your community, shout them out, let them know that you appreciate them. Those are some ways in which you can definitely celebrate nurses and let them know how much they are appreciated for what they do, especially right now during the COVID-19. Nurses are going above and beyond right now. We really, truly are. So shout out, big kudos. As you see the ticker rolling down at the bottom of the screen, it is saying Happy Nurses Week 2020. Hashtag nurses are heroes. That's us, each one of us in our own right. That's right. All right, so now we're going to move into the round table. Oh, what? I think we got Waunita back. Waunita, how about now?
I can hear you in and out.
Okay. Waunita, you go ahead and see if we can hear you do your introduction real quick.
I've been a nurse for a little almost 4 years. I'm a former public school educator and high school librarian. I'm a proud corrections nurse, graduate of CanSum. I am a medical cannabis consultant, Pennsylvania Department of Health, medical marijuana caregiver. And I started my business, Herb Cierge, which is a concierge medical cannabis business in which I advocate and educate for the adult and medical use of cannabis, as well as equitable access and expungements, etc., in the industry.
Thank you so much for sharing it. And I was so glad that you were able to get back on, because I really wanted everyone to know that I knew specifically what you did as far as not only your career, but also for your business with Herb Cierge. So I wanted, again, for everyone that's listening and viewing us to be able to hear that, because the cannabis industry and, working with that has really grown. And I know there's a lot of questions out there with it, with medical marijuana and nursing. So I look forward to you sharing some additional information about that. So I'm glad you was able to fix that technical issues. It's been against us all evening. All right, so thank you so much. I want to shout out a few people that are online. You know, I'm trying to work a couple of different devices. We got some people on Facebook joining us live. Hey, Carrie, we got Tamika, we got Charlene, we got Marie. Thank you guys so much for joining us and showing us love. Please definitely share the video and or show us love. Shout out and comment on any nurses that you know that you are aware of in your community, in your family. All right, so now we're going to move into the round table. And so this question always, and I think a couple of you actually answered it when you did your introduction. So Cherie, I know you did. So share with us again why you chose nursing as a career.
Well, as far back as I can remember, my mom, my grandmother, my aunt, they all were nursing aides. And so I used to see them with the stethoscope around their neck and the white uniforms. And I just thought that was the most attractive thing as a little girl growing up. And I just thought it was so nice. Look at them in their uniforms. And I just wanted to wear that stethoscope. And so for career days in kindergarten, I used to dress up as a nurse with the stethoscope and the white uniform, everything in kindergarten. So this is a calling that I knew I was going to be a nurse my entire life.
Right.
And so as early as 17, I became a nurse. I actually had to go back and I had to take a day off of work to go back and graduate from high school because I was a nurse before I was a high school grad. So
yeah. And I always, yep, exactly. Yeah. And I always love hearing that story. And I didn't share, of course, you know, because I've shared it so many times, who I am as the host of today's show. But Cherie and I both did the same thing, graduated high school as a nurse. And you knew early on, let me tell you, you sacrificed a lot. So your 11th and 12th grade year, you basically gave up going to high school because you went to vocational school for nursing. So I graduated from high school really in my 11th going into my 12th grade year. And basically 12th grade year, Cherie, and can relate to this, was spent with nothing but clinicals. So you had to know that you had a love for nursing and for the career that you were about to, you know, venture into as a 17-year-old, you know. And for me, it was the first exposure to it was just like what you said, Cherie. It was my mom. My mom was an LPN for, you know, years. And that was what I saw. Back then, you had to wear, you know, your starch white uniforms. And like you said, with the stethoscope around your neck. So oftentimes, we don't know the impression that hopefully we as nurses are leaving to the next generation. So hopefully whatever we're saying, whatever we're doing and how we're showing up will impact them as well. How about you, Vicki? Why did you choose nursing as a career?
Well, while stationed in the military, I had the opportunity to become a registered nurse through the Army Enlisted Commission Program. I was an enlisted soldier back then, and I had this opportunity to become a registered nurse. It was all paid for, and it was 2 years to any college of choice. So I applied for the program. I got selected to Howard University as well as other universities across the nation. And I decided to go into that field and go into nursing. However, I had an aunt. At first, I was starting off as a medical assistant here in Anne Arundel County at Anne Arundel Community College. And after talking to my aunt, her name is Neil Williams, who was a nurse for several years. She said, why do medical assistants when you can become a nurse? Mm-hmm. She said, you have all the qualities and attributes as a nurse. She said, pursue nursing. And it was a no-brainer after that. I pursued nursing, graduated from Howard, and here I am today.
Awesome. Yes, isn't that awesome? And see, sometimes, like you said, like what she just said, it sometimes takes for other people to see not only the qualities that you have and the abilities to be able to do something, even if you didn't see yourself doing it. And now look, you know, as another career for you. So that's awesome. How about you, Shaniqua?
Well, it's funny that you and Cherie both said that you went to vocational high schools, because I did too. I went to vocational high school, but when I started at the school, they had the LPN program, and the year I started, they had gotten rid of the LPN program and had the CNA program. Okay. So I graduated from high school as a CNA. So from working in the field, getting that clinical experience, it really did strengthen my love for the profession. And funny enough, my mother always wanted to be a registered nurse. She turned out to be a teacher, which is really, like, I guess it's just in my genes, because now I'm a teacher. I'm an educator as a nurse educator. So it's funny how my mother's dreams and her aspirations just somehow just came over into me. And I started doing nursing many years ago. I want to say I'm in my 19th year. Yikes. But it started out from, being a CNA. So you're absolutely right with saying when people see how you carry yourself, it does leave a mark, because as an educator, I've worked in the colleges, and I've seen the young nurses students coming up, and they really do look to us. They look to us for how to behave in the clinical field, and they also look to see the other things that they can do. So it's great that we have so many different areas of nursing that we can work in, because it's helping them. It's showing them the way.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Well, thank you. And I'm glad. And nursing and teaching does go hand in hand, because not a lot of what we do goes back to our ability to teach. So that's one thing. And funny that you said that, because my mother, when I was growing up, didn't know whether I would be a teacher or a nurse or both somehow combined. So like you said, your path, she used to laugh at me because I would sit my doll babies down and read books to them and then give them a quiz at the end. So it's like, regardless of where you are, somehow your paths were intertwined. And I absolutely love teaching. So that's awesome. All right. How about you, Nita? Can you hear us, Nita?
Am I up? Because I'm
there you go. Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. So for me, I've always been in helping professions, and I've always worked with at-risk students or the offender population, whether it be as a counselor to adult parolees, a counselor to juveniles incarcerated. I was a chef instructor when I went to culinary school. To at-risk youth, we were trying to introduce them to the culinary industry. So I ended up teaching. I worked for Newark Public Schools for over 10 years as a high school librarian in both the regular education and the alternative education programs. And when the attack started to come on public employees and educators some years ago, I was kind of burning out. I didn't feel as challenged as I needed to be as an educator. So I decided to make a career change, which my father had kind of scared me away from some years ago. He said, "Oh, I don't know if I could deal with all the blood and the guts." And I kind of thought about that. And I went to culinary school instead of nursing school. So, 2013, I started thinking about what was I going to do next. And I went to a nursing information session, and they said that, nursing was the most portable career. You could work in any state, any English speaking country. And I said, that'll work for me. I can help people, and I'll be physically and mentally challenged. So I jumped in. I became a nurse. Initially, I had planned to go straight into RN, decided to do LPN because it was a faster route into nursing. And I'm actually getting ready to start an LPN to RN bridge program. It'll be next summer, not this summer, thanks to coronavirus, because it's been postponed due to, on-campus restrictions. But I've always been in helping professions, whether it was, in the service industry, as a chef, as a bartender, then becoming an educator, and now a nurse and also a counselor. I've worked in human resources. So I'm always in some capacity helping someone. And I have found nursing and public education to be the most rewarding.
Yeah, nursing is very rewarding. And
I love that. In nursing, I've been...
Yeah, you just said something when you were explaining.
I was saying, I love that.
That's breaking up.
I'm sorry.
No, I was saying you said something that's always so profound when people talk about nursing. They always say, I don't know if I can stand the blood, guts, and gore. That's like one of the things, even when my daughter was coming up, again, it passed the torch from my mom to me. And I thought maybe my daughter would be interested in nursing. She wanted no parts of it. She was like, I don't want to give shots. I'm not trying to see blood. And I don't want to see guts and gore. And it's like, I'm like, that's only like a small little smidget piece. You can either be as close to the bedside or as far away. If you could get, kind of over that piece of it. But that is one thing that sometimes people who are not, in the healthcare field, that's what they think. So to anyone out there that might be watching or listening, nursing is very rewarding. Yes, there are some parts to it that, you do have to get through, but it is not where you have to stay, or that isn't part of your everyday unless you choose that particular specialty or field that would require you to, be involved in those type of hands-on clinical skills. All right, so I'm going to move now to us sharing a memorable story. I couldn't wait to get to this part. So I hope y'all have some funny stories. They can be life-changing, but I'm hoping that this part will also make us laugh a little bit. All right, so I'm going to jump over to social media because it's going crazy. We've got a couple of people that are saying, hey, we got Tay Hart, Africa's Heart, saying, hey, ladies. We have Charlene's wishing us Happy Nurses Week. Also, Tamika Jones. Carol Pompey said, hi, Shaniqua. So she got a personal shout out from her. Carrie saying, hey, Nita, Waunita. Actually, I said Nita. She said Waunita. And who else is on here giving us shout outs? And Marie, shout out and thank you for your service. So thanks, guys. I'm trying to monitor all the different social media platforms we have. Everybody giving us kudos and shout outs. All right, so this is what I want to move into, this part right here. So you guys, we do have funny stories and we do have life-changing stories. So I think I'm going to go with Vicki. Share your either funny story or life-changing story in nursing.
Well, I usually don't tell anybody what happened to me on peds. So this is the reason why I cannot deal with children. Okay, so we're in peds. We're learning how to do a circumcision.
Oh.
So we go into the room. The room is closed. The male babies are all ready to get circumcised. And I'm watching because I'm learning, right? So I'm watching, I'm learning, and I'm eager, and I'm looking. And I'm like, okay, oh my God, this is what they're about to do to them. And that's what I was saying in my mind, like, oh my goodness. So I seen them put the restraints on the arms and the legs of the baby. And then I seen them, she was teaching us how we place the little slicer. Oh, I don't even know if that's the correct word. Soon as she put it on, girl, I seen all white and almost passed right. Literally, I seen all white and my knees got weak. Oh my God. So the nurse was saying, Victoria, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, no, not really. So she said, okay, get yourself together and compose yourself. And I did. And I wrapped the baby up and I did everything. I watched him do everything. And I just, she said, well, you know what? We're going to give you a break. We're going to let you take the baby outside and console the baby. Okay. And thank God. But from that point on, everybody knows Victoria does not do peds.
Right. I'm with you. I'm with you. Can I raise my hand?
I cannot do anything.
Hey,
so
Vicki.
My heart went out to that baby.
Exact, Vicki. I'm gonna give you a virtual high five on that because I don't do either.
and I have a male child. So so I learned all of this after my male child was born.
Right.
So I was like, oh, if I would have known that, I don't even think he would have been circumcised. But thank God it's the reason why they let me see it after the fact.
Right.
That's my moment in nursing.
Yeah. You know what? You can tell that was your moment because you told that story like you were still there. Okay. All right. How about you, Shaniqua? What's your funny or life-changing story?
I'm gonna say my most life-changing. It was the moment where I knew I was called to be a nurse. So I remember it was during a clinical rotation, and there was an older lady. We were in like a senior nursing home, and there was an older lady there that wouldn't eat. She wouldn't eat her food, and they were actually, the doctors were in the talks about putting the G-tube, the peg inside of her so that they can give her the feeding through her stomach. And they were waiting for her family to come around, but for some reason, the family wasn't always showing up. So what I would do on my, kind of free time, downtime, because again, you're learning, so you're not always that extremely busy. What I used to do is I used to go and I would brush her hair. So I would just sit there and I would brush her hair. And then when it was meal times, they would say, oh, she's not going to eat. And she's not going to eat. Like, just leave her be. She's not going to eat. But I would just sit there and I would play in her hair. She had this nice silky hair and I would just play in her hair. And then I opened up a can of Ensure and I just put a straw in it. And I'm just talking and stroking her hair. And I just offered her the can of Ensure. And as I'm stroking, she's sipping. And everybody, like one of the nurses happened to pass by. They was like, is she drinking Ensure? And I was like, yeah, you got another can? And that was my moment where I knew that compassion, that heart, like it really is a profession that comes from your heart, because we know when you're in the field and you're working and you're hustling and bustling, like you get so busy, you don't have that time to charge into that compassion sometimes, or sometimes you're so stretched. But that moment right there, it showed me that that's what it takes to heal people.
Absolutely.
That compassion, that taking that moment with them. So you can hang all the IVs, you can do all the tests, all the procedures you want to, but if you're not putting that compassion, if you don't have someone there that's going to stop and say, wait a minute, let me see what the inner needs of this person is.
Absolutely.
You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. So I think that was my most profound moment. And to this day, and that was eons ago, I still remember that moment, and I can still see myself stroking her hair and that excitement bubble up inside of me when she was drinking the Ensure. I mean, my God, it was just a can of Ensure, but it felt like a steak and baked potatoes.
Right. Because you accomplished something and you showed and demonstrated the compassion. So yes. And again, I could tell that touched you because you shared that in such a way, like as if you were right there and it happened yesterday. You know, you can share that with compassion. So we got 2 more. And then I want to shout out, like I said, a few more people that are watching us. I appreciate you guys. As I said before, this is Delana Watkins with the Wellness Lounge, and we are celebrating Nurses Day and kicking off Nurses Week. We have Cheryl Wood, Dr. Cheryl Wood, I should say. Hey, Wendy Jenkins, and Tanoa Hampton. She's also a fellow nurse. Happy Nurses Day to you and all the other fellow nurses that are joining us. We totally appreciate you, and we are just getting started. So, Cherie, share with us.
Girl!
Your funny story.
So listen, I've been a nurse for 30 years. I got a lot of stories I can tell. Oh my God. But I'm going to tell you a funny yet embarrassing moment when I first became a nurse first. And then I'm going to tell you another little short story about impact that I had on somebody. So my funny story of being a brand new grad at 17 years old, I walk in to do a G-tube medication.
Wow.
So I went to go give somebody G-tube medication. Well, you know they use Foley catheters as the G-tubes, right? I was green. I didn't know a whole lot. So all I saw was the tube. I picked it up and put the medicine in. The medicine that I put in was KX-late. So you guys know it looks like milky brown, right? It ended up going through a suprapubic catheter, not a G-tube. Oh. So it went straight through and went through in the bag. Well, I didn't notice it. So I left out. I thought I did my good job. I'm 17. So it just flushed straight through and it went through into the Foley catheter bag. This mean nurse comes out yelling at me, you don't know the difference between a Foley catheter and a suprapubic, a G-tube and a suprapubic catheter. And I'm just like, oh my God, they look just the same. Somebody didn't place it properly. So it was where the G-tube was supposed to be, hanging where the G-tube was at. So I did it. That's my funny yet embarrassing moment. I will never, ever forget. From that moment on, I always double check what tube. So that was
my God. Tanoa Hampton said, OMG.
OMG, but at least it wasn't like it didn't kill anybody. Thank you, Lord. But that was my 17-year-old brand new spanking new nurse out of high school.
Right.
Embarrassing moment putting a KX-late through a suprapubic catheter, and it came out in a whole bag. So they thought this man was peeing mud, basically. So I can laugh now, but I cried that day, y'all. I cried because that nurse made me feel this small.
I'm sure.
So I never, ever make new grads feel small or feel bad when they have embarrassing moments.
Right. And we're learning.
Yeah, we're still learning. So I was still on preceptorship. So she should have never left me alone. It's her fault.
Right. Truth be told, right? Tell her truth be told.
But she was so mean to me. I would never forget that the rest of my life. And I said I would never make a new nurse that made a mistake. You know, it wasn't a deadly mistake, thank God. But my life-changing story that let me know that I definitely was in the right field was when I was at my congregation and one of the elders said a prayer. And when he came off the stage, he'd sit down and he had a heart attack and he just went out right there. So I had the other elders, I'm like, put him on the floor. I can't do anything for him sitting in the chair. I did CPR on him. He survived. He lasted for another 6 months after I resuscitated him. And it was just like, I was glad that I was there at that moment, a nurse that knew how to act and save a family, friend, and an elder in the congregation. So that was something that I'll never forget. Yeah.
That's awesome, especially not to panic, because you know how we know what to do sometimes.
I was giving out directions. All right, you do the breath. I'm gonna do the directions. You did call 911. I was giving out directions and still working at the same time. So to know how to act in a crisis, it definitely has impact. And I was like, wow, I was the only one there that acted, and there was other people there that knew CPR, but they didn't jump into action. So as nurses, we do what others won't. So
right.
Yeah.
Technical issues again. Why everybody bouncing off the screen? So it's moving it back around. Okay, here we go. All right, Nita, your turn before I share my story. If you're muted, Nita, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
No, I don't think I'm muted. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can. All right, share your story.
For me,
you had to take a deep breath on that one.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen some pretty interesting stuff in nursing. I know for me, my craziest moment was a brand new nurse as well, left, you know how they do LPNs, they'll leave you with like 50, 60 patients. And I was on an Alzheimer's behavioral health unit, and I was eating at the nurse's station, and one of the patients thought that, I think he thought I was fanning him away, but it was like a gnat that kept flying in my face and in front of my food. And I'm just like fanning this, like fanning. And I think he thought I was like blowing him off. Before I knew it, this man jumped up and like was coming for me behind the nurse's station. And it's funny because I had gone out to eat like the night before, and I had like this half of a filet mignon left and cream spinach, and you know, I had this whole gourmet dinner. And here he came behind that nurse's station. I was so worried about grabbing my plate of food and my steak knife that I had with me in a behavioral health unit, trying to jump over this wall, had to cut my legs up that is still scarred to this day. I was like, oh my God, but I wasn't letting that I wasn't leaving my filet mignon. And
you didn't let that food go.
Because after all that, I get in the pantry to, you know, put my food down and look at my legs. You know, my legs are cut and bleeding, but my food was intact. So
wow.
That was the craziest moment for me. And then, you know, making sure that I had that steak knife that wasn't left behind on a behavioral health unit. So that was it for me. I was like, Lord my heart was racing. And I thank God that I had a really big male CNA who helped me out in that situation.
Hey, Waunita, that was one of the times where your culinary skills and your nursing skills merged together.
Okay, yes, that food and nursing. I was like, oh no, save the food.
Yeah. See, I told you nursing will bring things together. That's the time. Culinary skills and your nursing skills went together, okay? So but
you know, I think people really take that for granted and don't realize the transferable skills that come into nursing from other professions. Whatever you do in another profession, you can use it in nursing. You will have to use it in nursing because nursing is not black and white, cut and dry at all.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. So my funny story, really quick, you guys, I'm going to condense it down because I want to shout out some nurses before we take our first commercial break. So my funny story is I did home health for about 10 years. And I went into this continuum care community. And when I looked at my assignment, I went to the wrong door within this continuum care community. So it's sort of like a big assisted living. And I went to the neighbor's door instead of the person that I should have been going to see. Knock on the door. I asked, is this Mr. So-and-so? And he said, yes, let me in. Do you know this man let me do his entire assessment?
Wow.
And it was the wrong. So he knew his neighbor. So all of the questions he answered was right and they were appropriate, but it was really for the neighbor. It wasn't until I asked
Oh my
his
God.
medication, because I needed to see his medications from the hospital so that we could do the reconciliation. So when we got to that part, obviously he didn't have the meds because it wasn't him. So he had to fess up and tell me that, oh, it's not me, it's Mr. So-and-so next door. So after I sat there, but do you know, so it was funny. I was mad, I was upset, but listen, this is what happened. He was so lonely. Apparently, he normally gets visits, and I guess his family or whoever the home health person was that his private aide wasn't coming, and so he was lonely. So, honey, when I knocked on that door, he just let me in and let me sit there and talk to him for about 45 minutes to an hour about something that had nothing to do with him at all. So at the end of the day, he basically was lonely and he just wanted somebody to sit down and talk to him and, you know, just show that they were concerned about him. Now, I laugh about it right now, y'all, but I can I was hot.
Yeah.
Remember,
wow, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? So I still had to leave from him and go next door
to the
and
real
do my
person, right?
So that was funny and inspiring. So I can laugh about it now, you know, almost 15 years later, 20 years later. All right, y'all. So before we transition into our commercial break, I want to shout out some nurses. And of course, if you guys got some nurses you want to shout out, just of course, I got a long laundry list. So I'm only going to shout out a few of them and then we'll do some more later. But number one, and first and foremost, you guys heard me talk about her before, and that's going to be my mom. You know, she was my first inspiration. She is no longer with us, but Sandra Marlowe Queen, she was one of the best LPNs that, of course, I have ever been exposed to and loved. She was just that one that just, you know, always nurtured, cared, and showed compassion, and everyone loved her. Tanae Watkins, she's my bonus daughter. We got Amber Brightly. She's my quote unquote goddaughter. Africa's Tay Hart, Beverly Trimper, Holly Stewart, Patty Bonnerman, Giselle Valentine, Terry Rowanek, Shirley Banks, Nayeli McCaffrey, Rhonda Dennis, Sharon Addison, Maisha Amia, Dr. Mauricia Sherman, Chaz Noakes, Donna Edwards, Angela Lay, Mary Apple Castillo, Juane Anderson, Michelle Graves, Katie Nichols, Amy Sarmento, LaKyla Tellis, Michelle Green Rhodes, Amanda Boyd, Cynthia Gooding, Judy Carr, Priscilla Williams, Letitia Williams, Venus Ricks, Antonia Smith, Karen Brown Banks, and Dean Smith. That's one list. So you guys got a couple you want to shout out. I'm sure some of the names I said, y'all were nodding your heads because you know them too. That all of them are superpower bad nurses. They get out here, they do their thing, whether it's bedside, boardroom, CEO, entrepreneurs. We have some great nurses in our network. And of course, I shouted all of you guys out when we first started out. So I appreciate what you all do. So we're going to take our first commercial break, right? When we come back, you all as our audience, it's going to be time for some nurse trivia. So we want to see how well you all know what nurses do, how much you even care what nurses do. Some of it is funny. So we'll be right back on the other side of this commercial break. All right, welcome back. Okay, so we're going to jump right in and we're going to test you all out as far as what you know. We have a couple of questions to find out if you guys really know what it means to be a nurse. So this is nurse trivia. Question 1, what's another name for the nurse's cap? What's another name for the nurse's cap? You very rarely see nurses wearing them anymore, but the nurse's cap that used to sit on your head and was starch white and would kind of sit up. What did you guys call that? What's another name for the nurse's cap? Let's see. I'm checking to see if any of you guys know. I'm looking on all platforms to see. You guys look on your streams too and see if anybody knows. Let's see. We give them 15 seconds, y'all.
Okay.
All right. Right. All right, let's see. Nope, we don't have no takers. Not on my timeline.
Nobody.
Nope. Let's see if anybody in the comments. Nope. Nobody over here. Nobody on your timeline. No. Okay. So another name for the nurse's cap is what? The nun's cap. Yep. The nun's cap. So the reason why they don't wear them any longer is because they tend to harbor bacteria, infection, things of that nature. And so I forget when, but they cut that out as being part of the nurse's uniform. But let me tell you, back in the day, y'all know when y'all were on clinicals, if you didn't have that nurse's cap on right, pinned in the right way,
you had to go home.
You had to be out of here. That was part of your uniform. Okay. Let me see. Tony Smith said it was called Cupcake. It looked like a cupcake, didn't happen. Tony said it was called a Cupcake.
Okay.
All right. That's the millennium name for it. Back in the day, it was like, I think it was a nun's cap.
Okay, Tony.
Yeah. She said it was called the Cupcake. All right. Nurse trivia question number 2. Right. What do most nurses wear around their neck?
That's the easy one.
That's a giveaway, Delana.
Some of y'all nurses that's on my timeline, they might have got off. That's on the live feed. I'm waiting for y'all to tell me what. That's easy. Cherie said it like 3 times already. What do most nurses wear around their neck?
Nope. Sherwood got it.
Yep, Sherwood says stethoscope, and Noah Hampton says stethoscope. Woo! There you go. Yay! Yep, stethoscope, and it had to be cute, match your uniform. All right. Question number 3. What is the TV name of a mean nurse? What's the TV name of a mean nurse? Nurse what? Nurse who? Nurse. Come on, y'all. Everybody say it. When you in the hospital, when you somewhere, you got that mean nurse. What do you call her? Nurse what? Begin with an R. Nurse, a R or a C. I'm going to take either one. Nurse Ratchet. Or Nurse
J.
You know that's what you call. Yup, Sanoa got it. Sanoa about to get 100%. Sanoa said Ratchet. You got it.
What about Nurse Jackie? Isn't that TV show, Nurse Jackie? Is she crazy?
And she was a Nurse Ratchet.
Yeah.
So some people say Ratchet and some say Cratchit. So either Nurse Ratchet or Nurse Cratchit is right. Absolutely. Yep. All right. Question number 4. What is a frequent flyer? What is a frequent flyer? And no, we're not talking about frequent flyer miles. We are not stewardess. As a nurse, what do we call frequent flyers? Come on, y'all. Monitor y'all. What you call me? See, because Noah over here killing it. Tony said, "LOL." So, what do we call a frequent flyer? Do 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 do. All right, frequent flyers are. Let's see if anybody got it. Yep.
Come on, nurses, where y'all at?
Noah, she said readmissions. That's right. So, frequent flyers are those patients who come in for their being busted, their broken toenail, fingernail, their head hurt, their back twinging, all that. Those are your frequent flyers, and you just saw them on Tuesday, and today only Thursday.
Absolutely.
They dose of medication they came to get.
Right, exactly, and never even filled the medication they came to get from Tuesday's visit, and they back on Thursday for the same thing.
And want the most care and attention.
Yes, the most care and attention. Oh my goodness.
Cheryl Wood said for the question about the nurse, she said Nurse Grouchy Butt.
Tell her that's the millennial name for Nurse Ratchet. Yes, that's the new name for it. All right, and number 5, this is easy. I mentioned this early. earlier, she is known as the mother of nursing. Even if you're not a nurse, you should know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Tanoa said, take all your time. Yes, the frequent flyer. They take all the miles, all the time, all your energy. They the ones want the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, the crackers, and everything else.
Ringing the bell every 5 minutes.
So who is the mother of nursing? Come on, y'all. Even the ones on my timeline. Come on, the nurses on here. We got Africans and all of y'all that were on here.
Rodney Branch just answered it. He said Nightingale.
Yes, who was that?
Rodney Branch from Copa Style Magazine.
All right, Rodney Branch, hey, from Copa Style Magazine. You got it. Yes, Florence Nightingale is known as the mother of nursing. 200-year-old. Tanoa said Florence Nightingale, 200 years old today. Yes. Yep. Today was it today or birthday? Well, today was they start the kickoff. Yes, I think it was today. It's her birthday. What did I say? 12. Yeah, she's quite old because I said she was born in 1820. So yeah, she is 200 years old. Okay, Africa's now she answered. Africa said Florence Nightingale. Yes, there's a little bit of a delay from the live to the Facebook. So Africa's, you get a point. You get a point, Africa's, for Florence Nightingale. All right, ladies. So why do we think that this is the year of the nurse? Because even though we're going through COVID, the year of the nurse was pretty much already themed out before we got into kind of like the trenches and doing what we are now. So, Vicky, tell me why you feel like it's the year of the nurse.
Well, my opinion about the year of the nurse is nursing has become so broad that we have entered into spaces where before never entered. We are now our own entrepreneurs. We are in almost every industry. As a CEO, we are taking over in the cannabis business.
Yes.
We are taking over in entrepreneurship. We're making our own businesses out of what we learned from nurses. We're bringing in businesses to our business. We're gathering now corporations who want to join with nurses to learn more about health and wellness. We're beginning to do our own we're beginning to have our own avenue, our own paved way. Now we're opening up for so many others than businesses to join us at a corporate level.
Right.
So I believe the year of the nurse is just that. We are in a year, 2020 is our year to become what other people or other agencies didn't think we could become. We are our own voice. We're our own entity now. And we are, as nurses, are joining together. There's more collaboration like never before.
Yes.
We're collaborating more. We are joining more forces, so our voices are being heard. 2020 is the year of tenacity, perseverance, and determination. This COVID-19 has really shown us nurses and the healthcare industry our strength, where we stand and how many of us stand together in numbers. Before it was bedside, now we're everywhere. You can find nurses everywhere. You get what I'm saying? So I believe this is our year. I believe that, look at you. You have your own show.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You broadcasting. How many nurses do you know have their own show?
Right.
So right now, this is our year. And ladies, I just I really want to commend all of the ladies, especially my business coach, a business coach in nursing, teaching other nurses, Michelle, business coach, teaching other nurses how to do great things. So with that being said, 2020 is our year. We're coming out in numbers. We're doing great things, and it's more to come. It's
absolutely. Yeah, you said it. And I should have, it sounded like it was everything that you said. You touched on every single aspect of what I wanted us to discuss. You basically covered it. It was talking about how it's not just bedside, being in a uniform, wearing the stethoscope. It's businesses, it's collaboration, it's being on platforms, it's being, outside of the box, it's providing opportunities for other people to lock arms and join us. You pretty much covered it all. So thank you for that. Yes, the 2020 only just shined a brighter light on our capabilities, our tenacity, and our strength. And so in a little bit, we're going to talk more about the theme when we get down into what this year's theme for National Nurses Week is. But everything that you just said pretty much falls right in line with that and what exactly it is. So Shaniqua, share a tidbit about why you feel it's the year of the nurse. Thank you, Vicki.
Well, just to piggyback off of what Vicki said, what I believe the year of the nurse meant for 2020, because the World Health Organization declared this for the start of the year. So to me, I took it prophetically that it was an alarm being sound. It was an alarm that was going off and saying, nurses, on your mark, get set. Now, what you gonna do? So it was saying, it was declaring, it was speaking that positivity. It was speaking that abundance in our lives. Now, if we just took it thinking that we were going to party all year long, well, then we missed it. But if we took it as the sounding of the alarm to say that the opportunities have now opened, the doors are open for us to come through and be who it is that we want to be. It was time for you to start that business. It was time for you to go back to school to get that nursing degree. It was time for you to leave your mark. So the year of the nurse means that this is the year for nurses to show up and to show all the way out about our capabilities, about our God-given gifts, that compassion, that, you know, that caring nature that we have. It can go a long way. It's not just something that's surface. It's very, very deeply rooted. And now is our time to show the world. And we have declare it. So I'm grateful for platforms like this, that we get to show people a glimpse of what it is that we can do as nurses. Because we are the new superheroes, as they're called us, right?
Hey, speaking of superheroes, that's a perfect time to look, y'all.
Love it.
I almost forgot that to shout out my shirt. Yes, I bought that shirt specifically, so I had to stand up and show y'all. You just reminded me. Yes, that's our superheroes.
From the jump start. The world's just now catching on to it. So awesome.
Absolutely. All right, Miss Cherie, why do you feel like it's the year of the nurse?
I feel like it's the year of the nurse because nurses are constantly reinventing themselves.
That's good.
We're turning wheels all day long. Like Vicki had mentioned, we are everywhere. You know, it's nothing to hear a nurse saying, oh, okay, well, I do body contour now, or I do the CBD business, I do this. We're everywhere. So we are the backbone of the medical field, because yes, you see your doctors, but when those doctors are gone, who's there caring, sharing, and daring? Nurses. We care because we're there to hold your hand, make your problems go away. You tell us first, and then we advocate for you. So we share information. We make sure that you understand what's going on with you. When you don't understand what that doctor said, that nurse is there making sure that it's put in a simple way so that you can go away educated. And we dare to question a doctor. Right. Nurses, we dare to question doctors.
We do it.
We think that something is not right. So nurses, we advocate, we sympathize, and we educate our patients. So that's why we are so important, and that's why it's the year of the nurse, because we rock and we make sure that it gets done. But everybody else is on, we're still there, no matter what hour or day.
That's right. Woohoo! I love it. Listen, this is why we're here. We are so good. We are the bomb panel. I love it. I love it. Each of you dropped some bombs, and y'all out there that's, you know, watching us, listening and viewing, I hope y'all caught it. So to Noah, I'm going to put her comment up. She said, nurses are invaluable in every aspect of healthcare, of our healthcare system and community. Limitless opportunities. That is a great way to sum it up. To Noah, you are so right. We are great at recognizing a need and filling it. We're good at becoming, one way to say it is not necessarily a chameleon, but we know how to shake and move and build opportunities. If an opportunity presents itself, we'll figure out a way to build it. If we don't know, we'll go find out, figure it out, and then execute. That's the one thing about nurses. You know, how many times have you gone into a patient's room and what you need isn't there? But like MacGyver, you look over on the nightstand, you'll make it happen, right?
So taking the back of a syringe to get your G-tube unclogged and milk everything.
We
get
like
get it unclogged.
Absolutely. We will figure it out. And because we have that ability and we're so tenacious like that, that's why we are superheroes. And that's why it's the year of the nurse. All right. I want to see if Nita's back on. Nita, She was having some technical difficulties. Yes, all right, so I'm going to break away. We have, okay, let me have a couple comments on our live feed before I break away to commercial.
I'm here.
Oh, you're there? Oh, okay, Nita, I couldn't hear you. All right, go ahead. Share with us why you feel like it's the year of the nurse. See, I can hear her, then I can't hear her. All right, Nita, yeah, we can't hear you. We heard you say I'm here, and then that was it. All right, meanwhile, let's see if she can get her audio. We have Africa's Heart saying most doctors get their advice from us. We know what to do and what needs to be done. We just get an amen for it. Even if we just execute before we execute. So basically, Africa's is saying that we, the nurses, are the brains and the operations a lot of times, and we make our doctors look good. So absolutely right. Yes. We improvise very well. Yes, we do. All right. Hey, and Charlene's back on there. Hey, ladies. All right. So I'm going to break away for a commercial. When I come back, we are going to talk about this year's theme. I want to send out some thank yous for a few nurses that have sent some things my way, and then, or a few people in the community as well as family that have sent some things my way. And then I want us to dive into the nurses theme for 2020. And we're going to close out with that because I feel like that will kind of help us bring it all together and bring it all home. So in just a couple minutes, I'll come back from a commercial break, and then we'll share that information with you. Do you have a brand, product, program, or service that you needs to get in front of your customer? Well, what's stopping you? Is it not having a commercial? You lack social media graphics? Or just don't have the opportunity? Well, problem solved. I'm Delana Watkins, host of the television show, The Women's Wellness Lounge, and I have an opportunity to partner with you to get your brand in front of over 100 million viewers. We can help you with social media graphics as well as a commercial. If you're interested and this sounds like an opportunity for you, your brand, product, program, or service, I want you to send an email to info@DelanaWatkins.com or comment under this video or simply visit my website at DelanaWatkins.com. Thank you, and I look forward to partnering with you and helping your brand be exposed to over 100 million viewers. All right, so welcome back again. We are wrapping up and having a great time here celebrating Nurses Day and kicking off Nurses Week. I am your host, Delana Watkins, and we are in the Women's Wellness Lounge. I have 4 fabulous nurses with me. We have Miss Vicky Buggs, we have Shaniqua Johnson, Cherie M. Good, and then Miss Nita Scott, if I can hopefully get her back on. She was having some audio issues, but I believe she is still with us. So if we can get her back on, we'll get her to chime in on the last part of what we're transitioning to after I say some thank yous from my commercial break. Y'all know I feel like I'm at the Oscars. I got my paper with all my thank yous on it. You know, I told y'all when we were in the hospital, when we were working in a facility, Nurses Week, we were just like, I was signed up just to work Nurses Week. Like I might not work all the rest of the day. Yep, y'all need somebody on day shift. You need somebody on night shift because I knew the gifts would be rolling in. And I don't want the nurses getting all my gifts. Wait a minute. All right. So first of all, the first person to wish me a happy Nurses Day was my cousin Darlacia. She was my mischievous cousin, and we used to get into trouble as teenagers. So she knew when I probably should have been studying for my nursing test, we were out doing other things. So thank you, Darlacia. She wished me a happy Nurses Day and happy Nurses Week. Carolyn Washington sent me a lunch on Sisters for Sisters. So I appreciate that. Sent me a Cash App and wished me happy Nurses Day and Week. Chayesda Washington, thank you as well. Beautiful text. Tanya Young, first thing this morning, buzzing in my ear at 8:30. And then, you guys, Miss Sandra Diggs from Glitter Me This. She was a guest on my show a couple of weeks ago. I have not yet opened my box, but you guys need to see this box, okay? And I know it's not some goodies in here. So I haven't opened my box yet, but I will do a reveal and put it on Facebook. But look at this. Isn't this heavenly? Y'all, her brand is Glitter Me This. and Company. I had it upside down. Glitter Me This. It's like a
It's
Tiffany box
upside down.
of goodies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can y'all see?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I have a mask in there that has Smile on it. That much I do know. I don't know what the rest of the stuff in there, but look at this, y'all.
Cute.
Cute. Ain't that cute? So thank you for that.
Cute.
I haven't dug into what else you have in my goodie box, but I knew I had this in here because I told her that I wanted one when she was on my show. So her company she has Girlfriend Therapy. The name of her company is Glitter Me This and Company. It's like Tiffany and Company. It's Glitter Me This. All good stuff. So if you have a girlfriend that you can't get to right now because we are on our social lockdown, send them a box. I absolutely love it. All right. So, Nita.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, we got you back. Okay, so this will be the first one for our discussion on this year's theme. So the theme for this year, you guys, is compassion, expertise, and trust. That's the theme for 2020. So Nita, what do you think, or why do you feel that compassion is so important in the nursing field?
Why do I feel compassion, expertise, and what's the last one are so important?
Trust. But right now we're just going to focus on compassion. So I want you to tell us, why do you feel like it's so important that nurses have compassion?
I'm struggling to hear you, but I mean, I will say this. One of my concerns is that in terms of compassion, we suffer from compassion fatigue like no other. Nurses are constantly pouring out. I feel that nurses struggle to show themselves the passion that show to their patients or whomever they are. And I think in general, we are afforded the compassion that we are expected to expend time and time again. So I think Year of the Nurse is recognizing the importance of nursing in terms of the compassion that we afford everyone, the expertise that we bring to the table, because without nurses, quite frankly, I don't care how many doctors you have, we are the front line. This whole COVID-19 would have been even worse if we did not have so many nurses on the front line willing to continually give their compassion and willing to trust themselves and their expertise and go in there and do what needs to be done to take care of people. So in terms of Year of the Nurse, for me, having been a union person for most of my working career, starting as a teenager, I think that nurses are going to come to and create the table this year like no other. Once we start being able to move away from the urgency of COVID-19, nurses are going to come to the table and create more tables than ever before. I think things that were acceptable are no longer going to be acceptable. I mean, I know for me, part of the reason that I came into the nursing profession and that has made me continue to move forward is the lack of cultural competence, the lack of diversity, that whole nurses eat their young mentality. And I think it's really time for nurses to come in and to change the game and say that what was tolerated is not going to be tolerated anymore. Like it's going to be a whole playing field. And I think especially as nurses of color, we have to make our voices known because, you know, going through nursing programs and then coming into the field, we have a completely different experience of others in the profession. And I think that the behaviors of bullying and intimidation that are taught in nursing school are going to have to be addressed not only with nurses themselves, but when it comes to upper level management as well.
Absolutely.
So I think, you know, those are the things that people are going to say, hold up, we're not doing that anymore. I mean, I know for me, that was one of the reasons that's for me what I want to do. I want to be at the decision-making table saying, no, this is going to change. That's not going to happen. I feel that we need to have better pathways into nursing, whether you're going straight RN or whether you're bridging LP into RN. I think the game has to change completely if we're not only going to change the culture, but also start to work on whittling down the shortage in nursing, because, you know, this is not going to be the last pandemic.
Right. Absolutely.
And, you know, there are many people who are going to enter the profession just based on their experience in this pandemic. I mean, I've heard many nurses say, I'm done after this.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the game has to change. And I think that year of the nurse means game changer. This is a game changing year for the nursing profession.
And so you hit on a couple of different points. And I like what you say when you talk about compassion fatigue. And I know that right now, dealing with that the pandemic that's going on, Cherie is the nurse that's been out there on the front lines. And I know you, Nita, as well, working in the correctional system, have been out there on the front line. So you know what exactly that's like when you're out there and you're worrying about, you know, not only caring for, you know, your patients, but at the same time, caring for yourself as well and showing yourself some compassion, knowing that you have to show up and do a job and do it well, but you're still concerned for yourself and for your family. So when you talk about compassion fatigue, that those two words right there, you know, I was putting in the chat, I was like, yeah, that's a good word. You covered it all. And being, I've heard that for so long about how nurses eat their young. And we're not talking about young in age. We're talking about our nurse graduates. And when they come out and you got that deer in the headlight look, and yet you look to your left and to your right and you don't see that person that's inviting you to come over because let me show you the correct way to do X, Y, and Z. We're losing that. And we need to get back to that. If we expect for the people that are coming into the field of nursing to stay in the field of nursing and to be compassionate and to get to the level of being an expert or having that expertise, we need to begin to show them that they can trust us, you know, that they can trust us to say, this is the right way. This is the, you know, the wrong way. This is what you should do. This is a better way. And I feel like some way, somehow,
absolutely.
Yeah, we've kind of gotten away from that. So thank you for sharing that, Nita. Those were all great points. All right. So I'm going to jump over to Vicki. Talk a little bit about the area of expertise. Now, I said Nurses Week theme was compassion, expertise, and trust. And I'm going to jump through those three themes as I talk to you guys. And Vicki, I specifically want you to talk about expertise because you did such a great job of explaining it earlier when I talked about why it was the year of the nurse. So just expound upon that a little bit as far as that area of expertise, what nurses can look forward to, because you no longer have to necessarily come out and do, you know, there's used to be this thing where you would have to come out and do a whole year of med surg. You know, that used to be the thing. Get out of nursing school and do a whole year of med surg and, you know, kind of get to know what you're doing and this and that. You know, you kind of had to follow this so-called imaginary blueprint. And I just feel like now that that's not the case. There are some nurses that come out of school and they may only do enough to get them their nursing hours per se on a clinical sense, pass their boards, and they're out. They may not ever do anything clinically related on that scope or on that level. They jump right into, you know, whether it's developing a company, a nonprofit, again, as I said, solving somebody's problem, filling a gap, filling, you know, being a solution. So talk to us a little bit about expertise.
I wanted to just say about the expertise portion of this show is that not only are we taught to be competent nurses, we also need to be taught emotional intelligence.
Ooh.
Also will let you know that we can group the two together, and the expertise that we gain from both of those components actually drives us to the directions of what we need to be, such as we have, for me, so I'm going to talk about me. I work in 506 EMS, a medical facility overseas. And what's going on right now with Iraq, not Iraq, but with the COVID-19, some of the same things that they're seeing now, the trauma is at a different type of war level. Whereas when I was stationed in Iraq, I was at a war. However, the same techniques does not change, if that makes sense. You know, we are not seeing the same, we are not combating the same war that we fought a couple of years ago. We're fighting a pandemic that is, you know, that has taken so many lives. With that being said, the expertise that we gain from nursing school, from everyday, some of those nurses aren't med-surg nurses. Some of those nurses are maybe case managers. What we're taught in nursing school and what we're taught in our career field, which is our expertise, we can utilize every piece of knowledge that we know towards any situation. We've been able to equip and pull out our tool bags, the things that we have learned, such as, like she said, compassion, dealing with families, dealing with starting a business. You know, compassion fatigue is a lot, as well as burnout. We know that a lot of nurses are burnt out from the hospital setting. So that's where they're turning and pivoting to different directions. So starting their own businesses, body contouring. You know, those expertise that we gain from nursing school, that license, people don't understand that license is a thing right there.
Oh, yes,
you know what I'm saying? That license is, you know, I'm gonna say that's your $1 million money right there.
Yes,
because
it is. We can leverage it. And see, before I don't think that we saw beyond the leveraging. And I believe now we're more in tune with us being able to leverage it.
Yes, ma'am. So that license and the leverage that we have been able to obtain from that license, people are asking us to come in. Can we use your license to do this? Can you sit on this board because we need a nurse? Can you come to this boardroom because you are a nurse? You are a professional. People don't understand. A nurse is a profession.
Yes.
We're professionals. We are the experts in our field, regardless of where we're at in the healthcare field. Your BSN, your master's, your DNP, regardless of what it is, we've been taught. We use those skills every day to move forward, you know, in our careers, in our businesses, in every aspect of our life. Let me tell you this. Your cousin got something going on with them. Guess who they calling?
Oh, yeah.
So they call the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They call leverage off our expertise. Oh, she a nurse. Let me call the nurse first.
Hey, Vicky, right now, that's what we call telehealth. Oh, now right now, telehealth right now. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? We've been doing telehealth.
We've been about that.
We've been doing telehealth.
Yes. So the expertise that we carry, we should not take that for granted.
Yes.
The nursing student, this goes out to the nursing students. While you in nursing school, suck up what you can in nursing school. I am for real, because nursing school is your foundation.
Yes. Yep.
As much as you learn, you can utilize that in the boardroom. You can utilize that in your own business, in the bed, consulting. The list goes on and on. So what I want you all to take away from is nurses are very relevant.
Yes.
We are very important. Regardless if you are in a hospital or in a clinic, it doesn't matter. The same expertise are there. Somebody needs you. You are relevant.
Yes.
And regardless of what anyone says, a nurse is needed.
Yes. Yep. That's
we
good.
are professionals. We are needed. Yep. And that's what I have to have. I hope somebody would gather that and you know, and utilize that. Get some takeaways from that, you know.
That's it. That's good. That was good stuff. See, that's why I called on you for that part, that expertise. I knew you had that. All right. I'm going to go to Shaniqua, and then I'm going to jump to Cherie to close out on the theme. Shaniqua, compassion for you. I want you to speak on that a little bit more. We had Nita open us up with the compassion, but the story that you shared was around that. So speak to a little bit more about, for this year's theme, about compassion.
Well, I think when we talk about compassion, we always revert it to the patient. It's always about having that compassion for the patients, the people that we're caring for. But I like what Nita was saying about the compassion fatigue.
Yes.
I want us to think about this year of the nurse. I want us to start to turn the mirror around and to start spending some of that compassion on us. One of the courses that I taught as a college professor was about self-care. So it's teaching you, yeah, how to take care of somebody else. But how are you going to take care of somebody else if you can't even take care of yourself? That's what I want to know. How can I show you compassion because you come in with a broken arm, or your pancreas is about to explode, or whatever your case is going on, right? How can I show you compassion if I don't even show compassion to myself? I don't even eat breakfast in the morning. I don't even give myself rest when
That's
my body's
right.
saying you need to sit down and rest, right? So I think it goes a little bit further. What I can do for myself, I can easily do for somebody else. It's not even an issue. But if we, because they don't teach compassion in nursing school. In case anyone thought that you did, I'm here to tell you you don't. You don't learn that in nursing school. You learn about disease management. You learn about diseases, you learn about, what medications to give and how to treat it, but you don't learn how to treat you unless you get, thank God. And I
That's
right,
right.
you were saying about how the nursing students, Vicky, need to make sure that they learn everything that they need to learn. I used to tell my students all the time, I'm not just a professor.
Right.
Like, there's so many other titles behind my name, they wouldn't even believe it until they start Google searching. But I said, you should tap me dry. You should ask me questions about every platform that I'm in. You should ask me about how to start a business as a nurse entrepreneur. You should
Right.
ask me how to write a book as not only an author, a nurse author, but a publishing executive. You should ask me about things, how to take care of yourself, because I've written books about self-care. So we really do need to let people know that compassion is only as good as you can give it, right? But you got to be able to give it to yourself. So it's nice that I can stroke some old lady's hair in the nursing home. But what about me? Can I stroke my hair? Can I make sure I'm well inside before I go out here? Because if you're compassion fatigued, you're going to start contaminating people. That's why they say nurses eat their young. That's because she's so burnt out, and and she sees a new nurse, not as help, but oh my God, this is more stuff I need to do. No, we do need to change the narrative, and we've got to make sure that we take compassion and we put that thing inside of our hearts, and we allow that to be our fuel to get through times like this.
That is so good. You touched on so many
Ciao.
different things. Honey, baby. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to feedback, and I think Vicky, you wanted to add something too, but what I was saying, what something you said that resonated with me was the burnout part. I feel like, and not that nurses don't burn out. I feel like we're entitled to, and sometimes burnout can be a good thing because you may be burned out from that particular specialty or that particular area that you're in right now, whether you're doing hospice, home care, bedside, med surge, clinic, whatever. Sometimes burnout may be just, oh, okay, my season for this is over, has come to an end. Not necessarily that I burned out and I'm not taking care of myself or doing the specific things that I do. I may say, the expiration date for this particular thing that I'm doing right now is up. I need to move and do something different. I need to challenge myself, or, I can do this with my eyes closed. I'm getting bored. I need to do something else. So sometimes burnout can come in a couple of different forms, but I think that when you speak of the actual true burnout, I feel like right now where things are versus where they were 10, 15, even 20 years ago, nurses burn out quicker now than they did then. And I think it's the culmination of what we're seeing as well as what they're doing. So thank you for sharing that, because it's so true. That's not like there's a course that's taught. Even Nursing 101, I feel like should give you some snippet into the day in life of a nurse to really give us some idea of what to expect.
And it really doesn't.
And what that looks like and what that really means as well. Yeah. So thank you for that. We had some great feedback from Tanoa said, preach. And then she said she loves your energy, Vicky. Vicky was bringing it. She was giving it. And then Carol was commenting too about self-care. And she said, when it's time to move. Absolutely. So, sometimes you'd have to take your own pulse and your own blood pressure. When I'm going and having tachycardia too often and my blood pressure up too much, that means I got to go. Got to move. It's time to move. So absolutely. Cherie, I want you to close out this portion of the nurse's theme of compassion expertise, and trust. So trust is the last part that we didn't talk about. So you're in a field right now where trust is definitely one of those things that rises to both the patient as well as the family. Being a hospice nurse, how do you think trust plays into it when you are talking about the nursing profession?
Well, first I want to touch on the compassion too, because I think that when we talk about compassion, we have to recognize that there are so many different people that require compassion. It's the patient, the patient's family, it's the nurse, the doctor, it's the janitorial staff, it's everybody that's involved in that care. And we tend to forget that all of those people have one thing in common. They're all human. So they have their own lives, they have families, they have stressors, anxiety that they're coming to work with. They're already fatigued. Maybe some of them are not sleeping at home. They may have their own financial issues. And so we have to be compassionate with one another, remembering that we're all human, nobody's perfect, and that we all need each other to get through that day or make sure that we're, completing the task that we have at hand. But when it comes to trust, I would say trust is a big thing, because when someone either comes into a facility or they put their lives in our hands, we have to take that as a serious calling and a serious task. And so when we are going and we're being called and we are that nurse, we need to make sure that we're staying in that moment of caring for those people and not just being we don't want to just be visible, but be present in that moment, making sure we're giving our all, making sure that we are taking all the expertise that you talked about and putting it to work. So that's why as nurses, we do that research. We advise, we suggest, we implement, we console. We have so many roles that we play as nurses. And so it's that trust of making sure that we have that person's best interest at heart. So especially from a hospice standpoint, families can't be there all the time. And so they're trusting that if we see a change in their loved one's condition, that we're going to give them that phone call. They're trusting that if they can't be there, that we're going to take the necessary steps to make sure that their loved one is comfortable, that they have the medications that they need, and that, if they just need companionship. I mean, it's been many days where I've sat there because the family couldn't be there, and I just sat there and held that patient's hand, knowing that they weren't going to make it probably the next couple hours. I literally just camp out there. So the families trust that we're going to do what's best for them. And then, as far as our employers too, they trust that we're coming there with a spirit of wanting to work and doing what they need us to do. And that's the thing about nurses. We always put ourselves aside to make sure that we're taking care of others. And I do agree with the self-care part. We do need self-care, but first and foremost, we signed up to make sure that our patients are okay.
Absolutely. And you covered it all when you even adding in that I said trust clinically and professionally. When we're hired, if you're working for someone, or even if you're in business for yourself, having whoever your client is to be able to trust you professionally and clinically, that what you're sharing with them, how you're guiding them, how you're directing them, is it, going to rise up to the standards, and that you're basically, undertaking the oath that we all sworn to do. That's one of the things with trust. The other piece of it is, and I'm one to, as soon as someone asks me, or if I feel like I'm in a lane that I'm not comfortable with, as nurses, we don't have a problem. I feel, most nurses, if you don't understand what it is, I have no problem saying, I've never seen this before. This is something new. I will not go and act like I'm. Why? Because the results of me pretending that I know what I'm doing, they do harm. And one of the statements in when we took the oath say that we will do no harm. And so I feel like most nurses will say, I'm not familiar with this thing. And so I would rather my patient and or my profession trust me enough to say that I don't know what I'm doing versus me to pretend that I do know what I'm doing and then moving forward and causing harm. So I feel like nurses oftentimes understand that they are trusted in that. It's sort of like it's a one of those unspoken words. Like as a nurse, it's one of those things where you just know that you are to be trusted. Like the moment you get pinned, the moment you pass your boards and you are sworn in or become a nurse, trust just comes with it. And that's just a given. So it's what we do with it. All right. So I want to take the time now, ladies. I thank you guys so much. And we have had an amazing time. The nurses theme of, again, having compassion, expertise, and trust. So we did the trivia. Now I want to shout out the last few nurses. I'm checking to see if any other nurses jumped onto my live feed. So I have a few nurses that I still have yet to shout out before the show ends. And then you guys let me know in the chat if you all have some nurses that you want to shout out, or either when I'm done, you can shout them out. Then we'll do giveaways if we have some. I'm going to flash your websites at the bottom, and we're going to close out this Nurses Day and this Nurses Week in grand fashion. All right, so my last shout outs go to Joan Reed, Channing Harris, Shantae McPhee, Patricia Young, Mashondy Brown, Susan Gray, Cassandra Herbert, Kim Hairston, Lafayette Boone, Maxine Freeman, Angela Sanders, Dawn Young, Johnette Anderson, Jamie Reese, Jaquita Brown, Madeline Battle, Sandra Johnson, Melanie Whitaker, Charlene Harrod, and Pakerta Forrester. So again, if I forgot any of my nurse friends, my nurse colleagues, charge it to my head and not to my heart. You know I love you all. All of us are out here doing our thing. Again, as Vicki so eloquently put it, whether we are as close to the bedside or to the boardroom, we are doing what we need to do to get things done, whether we're writing policies or charting on patients in the EMR. We are doing what we need to do for our profession, the nursing profession. So with that being said, do any of you, before I do a roundtable, Vicki, you got anybody you want to shout out?
Yes, I would love to shout out all the nurses from Gary, Indiana.
All right, Gary.
From Gary, Indiana, all my homeschool nurse, my homeschool nurses, my high school friends that became nurses. I just want to shout you ladies out, and I thank you for your service, everything that you're doing. I also want to shout out again, Michelle Rose, Victoria Randall, all the nurses in the Nursepreneur Society, as well as Nursepreneur Nation.
Yes, I was going to say Nursepreneur Nation, Michelle Rhodes. I shouted her out early, but I'm going to shout out the whole entire Nursepreneur Nation. And then Sharon Addison, I shouted her out, and all the nurses in the RN to CEO group. And we also have another group. Ooh, it's coming to me. Cherie, you posting there all the time. What's the other big nurses group that we're in?
Black Nursepreneurs. Black Nursepreneurs.
Yes, Black Nursepreneurs. All the nurses in Black Nursepreneurs. Yeah. Shout all of them out. All right, Cherie, you got any specific ones? We have Deborah Reed and Jackie Lyons.
All right. I want to shout out my cousin Kim Brown, who is the charge nurse down in Charles County at the hospital there. Ruth McClellan, she's a beast. And Gwen, who is a nutrition nurse. And then the class of 91 of Mergenthaler Vocational Technical High School nurses. Yes.
Woohoo. All right, let's see. Quick comment before I jump down to you, Shaniqua. We have Carol who said, thanks to all the nurses. This was interesting. Thanks for hosting this session. I love you guys. We appreciate you, Carol. Love you too. We got Tony Smith, to all the DOHMH nurses. Nice. I think that's Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And let's see. Yep. Thank you, Shaniqua. Personal shout out for Miss Carol. Carol, love you. Okay.
Yes.
And then we have Tanoa saying, Meady Clark. Y'all know I'm back here and see. Bartondale, Shantae Smith, Katisha Washington Jackson, Audria McNeil, and Nicole Venable. Yes, I didn't murder anybody's name. Happy Nurses Day and Happy Nurses Week, ladies. All right. Okay.
We got a shout out from the islands from Joanna Samuel says Happy Nurses Week to everybody.
Oh, all right. And where's that from, Cherie?
I want to say she's in St. Croix.
St. Croix. All right. St. Croix. Nice. Okay, Shaniqua.
Yes. Well, I do have some nurses that are on my watch. I'm doing the live watch, so they're on the line. I want to shout out Tara and Grace for tuning in and watching and supporting us nurses. I want to give a big shout out to the New York nurses because you guys know about our governor. Governor Cuomo has been holding it down during COVID-19, right? Governor Cuomo actually released
yes, he has
today and talked about that we get in Nurses Month, baby. So we not one day, we're not doing 1 week. We get in the whole entire month. So
I love it.
Shout out for it. Just stretch it out that this is Nurses Month, right? I also want to shout out. I was gonna say Michelle. Michelle Rose is getting it in. I also want to shout out Tammy Lewis, who's another one of my great entrepreneur nurse friends. So, and also I want to shout out some nursing students.
Oh, yes.
Because we are holding the light and they're coming forward and they're going to be, we're going to pass the baton back. So shout out to Carol Pompey, who is in nursing school, who is sitting under and watching and gleaming that nursing love and compassion. And she's getting it to bring it forth. And I also want to shout out Ashnell Henry. She actually is the one that designed the shirt. Ash Inspires, this little shirt that I'm wearing. But she's also a nursing student. So I like to give love to the students and to all my health coaches. I love them because you know what? We need support. As nurses, we're doing everything. We've got our cape, but we need somebody to make sure our capes are straight and it's not choking us to death.
Right.
Up to all of the CNAs, medical, so everybody was helping to hold the nursing profession together.
Absolutely.
Big shout out to all of them and everybody on my page. Shout out to you guys.
Absolutely. Yay. Thank you for that, Shaniqua. Yes, especially the New York nurses. They have held it down for almost more than 2 months going into this, I'll tell you. So shout out to them. They get a special shout out and sending them love and prayers. All right, Miss Nita. She has a little bit of a delay.
For me, I'm going to first and foremost shout out my nurse mommy, Carmen Johnson from Detroit, and all my Detroit nurses. Y'all truly rock, as I always say. I'm going to shout out to my CanSum family, all of my medical cannabis consultants who have come through CanSum, and we are out here holding it down in the medical cannabis game. We schooling them. We breaking down barriers, killing those stigmas, making sure people get access and education to alternative medications and not just pills. We are advocating for natural medication and also developing a relationship with their healthcare provider in conjunction with cannabis, not one or the other. We're making sure that people are getting educated. Shout out to my nurse sister, Sharita Wimberly. We held it down in the state. And shout out to my nurse sister, Antoinette Wilson, Tony Wilson out there, who we started in this game together as techs in the hospital. And we both knew we had to do something different. So everybody who's raised me up in this game, especially Carmen, shout out to you guys on Nurses Day, Nurses Week, Nurses Month, Nurses Year. Shout out to all the nurses who do what they do. And I'm going to say for our nurses of color, we got to remember Mary Mahoney and all the sisters that came before us that blazed those trails that made it possible for us to get in this game when the ANA did not want to let us in. So let's not forget.
Hey, look at that.
Don't get it twisted.
Look, can we give a clap for that? Thank you so much, Nita. We appreciate you. I appreciate this. Ladies, listen, I told y'all that little technical difficulty was like a delay but not denied. So I appreciate your patience with us trying to get on. This was so well worth it. It was all the nuggets that we dropped, all the energy that we have shared on this Nurses Day and then Nurses Week kickoff celebration was everything that I expected. So I appreciate you saying yes right away. When I sent you the invitation, I think each of y'all were like, absolutely yes, just send me the details. So I appreciate you for that. And I specifically chose you. So, and you did not disappoint.
Thank you.
Everything.
Well, thank you.
Amazing. So I thank you for that. So as we close out, I want I'm going to put your websites up. So again, starting with you at the top on my screen, Miss Vicky Buggs, I have your website up there. So just tell them what they can find when they visit your website, or if you have a giveaway or anything that you want for the viewers and the listeners to see on the health educators and safety specialists.
Hi, everyone. This is Vicky Buggs, your CPR expert extraordinaire. I am giving away an ebook for my latest book, She Snapped. It's very good. Also, I am also giving a free class, virtual remote class, BLS for any nurse. I'm not going to say any nurse, but up to 5 nurses that are in need of certification right now.
Nice.
A BLS remote class, so you can take everything online and also access your skills online. So you can reach out to me on Facebook, on Instagram, My business page is Center for Health Educators and Safety Specialists. There's my website listed at the bottom. Go out and view it. I am user-friendly, so I'll reach out to you once you contact me. And I'm here to assist in this COVID-19 pandemic to meet your training needs. So you can reach me at any time. God bless and thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicki. Yes, Vicki is Delana Watkins approved, okay? So make sure you look her up, especially if you need that BLS, okay? All right, next we have Miss Cherie M. Good with Total Harmony Enterprises.
Yes. Again, everybody, I'm Cherie M. Good, Recharge Strategist and Self-Care Master. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, so please visit my website that's listed below, TotalHarmonyEnterprises.com. Not only am I giving away a free self-care list, but I also have a free self-care assessment. We need to make sure that we're caring for ourselves adequately. So go take that free assessment. It's going to give you a score and tell you where you stand on the self-care scale and what you need to do to improve your self-care. Thanks for having me, Delana.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cherie. And y'all already know she is Delana Watkins approved, okay? So, next, we have Miss Shaniqua Johnson with ShaniquaJohnsonRN.com.
Yes, that is me, Shaniqua Johnson, RN. I always tell people that Shaniqua Johnson, RN. I'm like, listen, the doctors, they earn their keep. They got their doctor to their name. How come I can't put RN at the end of my name? So I do that. So I say thank you for having me here. I am a health coach and life coach. I am a corporate trainer, motivational speaker. I'm also the CEO of Stronger Through Faith Publishing. So if anybody is looking to get their book published, they've been sitting at home during this quarantine, you got some time, you got that book, you need to just blow the dust off of it and go ahead and send me your manuscript at strongerthroughfaith.com. But if you need any type of trainings done, any workshops done, you can definitely take a look at Shaniqua Johnson RN, and I will be happy once this pandemic is over. I'll be happy to go anywhere, but I can do virtual, of course. I can do virtual now, but again, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure just really connecting with my sister friends, and we just had a good time today.
Absolutely. And I think we were, I want to say at a retreat. I think it was a Sweatpants Chill retreat, right? When I bought your book and I said to you, we'll see each other again. I know there's going to be a time when well, here it is, right?
Yes. Yes.
Come full circle. And when you speak things out there, you allow it to manifest itself. So I appreciate you. And yes, you're Delana Watkins approved as well. ShaniquaJohnsonRN.com. And so last but definitely not least, and I need to get her website from her, and that is Miss Nita Scott.
You guys can reach me on Instagram at HerbCierge, HerbCierge, at HerbCierge on Instagram. You can hit me up with any questions, whatever you want to know about medical cannabis, let me know. I got the info.
Yes, she does. And I just put yours on the screen as well. Herb Surge. And I remember that.
Thank you much.
Herb Surge. She's the one that schooled me about it. And again, trying to knock down those barriers so that we can understand really where medical cannabis fits in. And I'm glad to see that now there are platforms for that and people are getting educated. So Nita, great work that you are doing. There's a lot more obviously ahead of you, and anything that and I'm sure we, the nurses that are both here on tonight's show, as well as those watching, can do to help you to get behind you. And I already follow you. Just let us know. So I appreciate you. And yep, you're Delana Watkins approved as well. So follow her at Herb Surge on Instagram.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So ladies, again, thank you. My most gracious gratitude for you guys for, again, answering the call and saying yes to tonight to help me to celebrate Nurses Day and then kicking off Nurses Week. Again, this is Year of the Nurse, and what nurses are experiencing right now is bringing a great, much needed light to the nursing profession, and in a positive and in a much enriching way. And everything that you all have shared tonight, I'm hoping will uplift and encourage nurses and aspiring nurses as well to continue on this path, because we are holding the torch and getting ready to hand it off and pass the torch or light someone else's torch along the way. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that is listening live and those that will watch the replay. Make sure you're sharing the video, commenting, and again, shouting out a nurse sometime this week during Nurses Week. Again, it goes from May 6th to May 12th. And we appreciate you. If you're at some point where you need to have medical attention and there's a nurse there, shout her out. Thank her for what she's doing for your experience at that time. So I appreciate you all. I'm going to close it out. You all know who I am, Delana Watkins, the Wellness Maven. I'm in the Wellness Lounge. Looking forward to kicking off my show on a national platform. There's much more to come. So if any of you are looking to get your brand out there in front, you saw my commercial, to over 100 million viewers and growing. I'm beyond excited. And then I have another major announcement that I will be sharing hopefully in the coming days once the ink dries. But there are some things coming. Lock arms and get yourself surrounded with other nurses that will help you to execute and become your great self. So as I close out, here's my commercial telling you that the She Is Well Tribe is about to launch, and I want you to be a part of it, because I know that we all deserve to be in a community of others that care about us. So you all enjoy yourself, and I appreciate you. So ladies, stay tuned. Ladies, it's your time to thrive. Launching during Women's Health Week is the She Is Well Wellness Tribe. We are a wellness tribe with a healthy vibe. No longer doing this on your own. Join us in this sisterhood. There is a limited space, and I promise you, you will get the results you desire. Visit us on the web.